Okay, so my battery went dead, but maybe that's good. Now you have 2 videos to look through the problems. Well, let's go on to problem number 13 and reread that. All right, the sum of the angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. Angle A is 3 times as large as angle B, and angle C is 120 degrees more than angle B. What is the measure of each angle? Okay, so we know it's a triangle. We know we have 3 angles. We know the sum of the angles of the triangle is 180 degrees. Okay, sum right away in your head, you should think right away we are adding. Okay, so we're adding the angles of a triangle. We know that's 3 of them, 3 angles we have to find. So the sum of the 3 angles is, and there's your keyword there, is equal to 180 degrees. So, but before we get into this equation and how we're going to write the sum of it equals 180 degrees, we need to figure out what are the 3 angles. In this next sentence, it tells us that. We have angle A, angle B, and angle C. We need to figure out what each angle is equal to. First, you should probably figure out which angle should be, like we did on the other ones, just X. And then we can build on that angle to make the other angles involve X, but add to it, multiply from it, or subtract, whatever it happens to be. So let's read this second sentence and determine which one are we going to make just X. Maybe none of them, but we at least have to start with which one we think might be just X. Angle A is 3 times as large as angle B. So already we know angle A is 3 times as large. So 3 times is 3, and this times thing should jump out at you as times or multiplication. So we know that A is 3 times as large as B. Okay, so we know already A is not going to be just an X. It's going to have it multiplied times 3. All right, so that's angle A. Angle B, we haven't heard anything about really, other than that A is 3 times as large as it. Then it says, and angle C is 120 degrees more than angle B. Now, this is giving us specifics on angle C. It says it's 120 degrees more. Well, more should be a key word for you that would jump out. More, not less than, not multiplied by, but more would be just adding 120 degrees more than angle B. So we know C is not going to be our simple X variable angle. But we have both C and A are being compared to angle B. We don't have a lot of information on B, so I think we're safe to say that we could make angle B our X variable. And if we make that X, angle B equal to X, now we can compare A and C to that. Let's go back up here. Angle A is 3 times as large as angle B. Well, we said 3 times would be 3 multiplied, or 3 times B. And B is X, so we would represent that as 3 times X. Or we can simply write that as 3X. So there we have angle A. Angle C is 120 degrees more than angle B. So we need angle B plus 120 degrees more. Okay, so angle B is X. We take angle B to make angle C. We want to make 120 degrees more than what angle B is. So we just take angle B and we add that 120 degrees more. Now we have all these represented from what information they've given us. Now we need to make our equation. Let's go back to that first sentence. The sum of the angles, adding the angles of a triangle, 3 angles, is 180 degrees. So we're going to have the sum of these 3 angles equal to 180 degrees. So let's sum these up. 3x is angle A, plus x is angle B, plus x plus 120 degrees. We have angle A, B, and C are equal to 180 degrees. And that would be the correct answer and your equation. Now you can solve for this because we have one variable. We could get that all on one side, but at this point all they want you to do is give me the equation. All right, let's try 15. Jim and Bill share a bookshelf in their room. Jim has 4 more than twice as many books as Bill. There are 22 books on the shelf. How many of the books belong to Jim and how many belong to Bill? All right, so we have Jim and we have Bill. They both have books on one shelf. Okay, they share a bookshelf in their room. Jim has 4 more than twice as many books as Bill. And we know there are 22 books total on the shelf. Okay, you should see that logically, if Jim and Bill both have books on the shelf and there are 22 books in all, you're going to add what Jim has to what Bill has to get your 22. But let's represent what Jim has and Bill has as a variable. There's my phone. Let's see. Jim has 4 more than twice as many books as Bill. So you see that Jim has a lot of detail here. So we're gonna look at that and know that we need to start with Bill then. Bill is who we're kind of comparing to. So Bill is going to be your x variable. Okay, there's not a lot of comparison with Bill. Bill is who we're comparing Jim's amount to. So we say, okay, Bill, if Bill's x, then what's Jim? Well, Jim has 4 more than. Now, more than should jump out as you as some keywords. More than is just adding to something. So we're going to add 4 to something. So Jim has 4 more than twice. Twice should jump out at you 2. Twice something we had before, above somewhere. We had 3 times as large of an angle before. Twice as large, or twice as many, is going to be multiplied. And twice means times 2, right? So we're going to multiply something times 2 as many books as Bill. So Jim has 4 more than twice as many books as Bill. So if he has twice as many books as Bill, if Jim has twice as many, 2 times as many books as Bill, there's Bill, and we're doing 2 more than 2 times that, twice as many. But then if we back up more, Jim has 4 more than twice as many books as Bill. So he has actually 4 more than twice as many. So we got the twice as many, but now we need the 4 more. So we're going to add 4 more. That's the amount that Jim has. So you represent that as twice as many as Bill. Here's Bill. And then 4 more than that. Okay? Now, we know that we talked about 2. We're going to add up. Jim and Bill are sharing this shelf. We need Jim's amount. We need Bill's amount. And if we add them all together, the total is 22. So we take Jim's, 2x plus 4. We add it to Bill, plus x, and it equals the total on the shelf, 22. And there's your equation. All right, 2 more. Let's do 17. Whoa. Let's stay on the table first. Let me move this up a little bit. Okay, 17. Kenny is 7 years older than his sister. The sum of the ages is 31. Find the age of each child. Okay, we have 2 people. We have Kenny and his sister. So we know we have 2 variables we need to find, Kenny and Kenny's sister. See if you can figure out which one is going to be the one we're comparing everything to. Really, you can do almost every equation. If you mix up and put x somewhere else, you can represent the other one. It might be trickier, but you can represent the other one in a different way. I'll show you on this one how you do that. All right, Kenny is 7 years older than his sister. So, Kenny is 7 years older. So if we go back to his sister, because we're comparing Kenny to his sister, let's make his sister then the variable x. Okay, because there's no comparisons to her, so that's the logical one to use your variable x on. So now we're going to compare. Now Kenny is 7 years older. Okay, older than or more than should jump out as that's a plus, right? So we take his sister, and Kenny is 7 years older. So we're going to add from his sister's age 7 more years. So x plus 7 is Kenny, where x is just Kenny's sister. Then you read in your next sentence, the sum of the ages is 31. Sum should jump out as addition. Of the ages, should jump out as equal to 31. So let's take the sum. X plus 7 is Kenny, plus the sum of Kenny's sister is or equals 31. And that would be your equation. Now let's say we messed up, and well, it's not a mess up. Let's say we said Kenny was X. Okay, Kenny was X. And how would we write Kenny's sister? If you started with Kenny as X, Kenny is 7 years older than his sister. Well, in your mind, you would have to know he's older, so you already started with Kenny, then you're going to have to subtract 7 years to get back down to his sister, right? So then, if Kenny's X, sister has to be Kenny minus 7. And that will give you the same answer. If we write that equation out here, the sum of both of these again, x plus x minus 7 equals 31. So when you solve it, x is going to be a higher number because it's Kenny's age. And then you're going to subtract the 7 from it to get sister's age. When you do it this way, the x is going to be the smaller number, and you're going to add 7 to it to get Kenny's age. Don't let this mix you up. If it does, just delete that from your brain and stick with this. But there is a way to do it if you put an x as a variable on anything. You can figure out what the other thing is. There's just easier ways, and I'm showing you the easier ways on these, how to do that. Okay, last one. See if you can do these now. Pause them and see if you can do them on your own. Even this one, maybe you want to pause it and do it and then see if you're right. Find 3 consecutive odd integers. So we did one like this up above. Okay, consecutive meaning in a row. Odd integers whose sum is 57. Okay, lots of words should jump out at you right away. Okay, how many variables are we going to have? We're going to have to represent 3 different numbers. They're consecutive, odd integers. Sum, we're going to add them together, and it's going to equal 57. So we have odd number 1, odd number 2, odd number 3. We don't know what the numbers are, but there are 3 of them. We do know that. Okay, if we start with the first odd one, it's going to be x, right? Well, like we said before, in order to get to the next odd one, whenever you start with an odd number, the next odd one is 2 away, right? If you start with 57, you need to get to 59, it's 2 away. You just add 2 more. It doesn't matter where you are. So we have x here for the odd number 1, but if we want the next one in consecutive order, we just add 2 more. That'll be the next one. Now, what do we do here? Well, if we want to get to the third consecutive one, we're going to add what? Well, x plus 4, right? That gets us to the next one. We could also say x plus 2 more would get us to the next odd one, but that does equal x plus 4, doesn't it? So we'll use x plus 4. Now, we have our 3 consecutive odd integers. We've represented them here. And we need to make an equation that shows the sum of them is 57. Pretty simple. I think you can do that after we've done all these. X plus 2 plus x plus 4 equals 57. Okay, hopefully that's helped you, and if that's helped you enough, you should be able to go back and look at 1, 3, and 5 and make sure you did those right. And we'll talk about them again in class if you struggled. Have a great week. See ya.